Climbing represents ambition, growth, and pursuit. You know, it requires intention and energy. Yeah? Every step upward asks something from you. Time, patience, courage, and sometimes pain. Falling, on the other hand, happens effortlessly. Mistakes, failures, and setbacks are part of the human experience. The problem is not the fall itself, but where the fall takes you. Some people fall into bitterness, into blame or despair. Others fall inward, using the moment to rediscover themselves. When you learn to fall into inner reflection instead of external chaos, even failure becomes meaningful. You know, psychologically, falling often triggers shame. It triggers fear or self-criticism. The brain interprets failure as a threat to identity. But when you develop self-awareness, the fall becomes a learning mechanism rather than a collapse. You know, you ask questions instead of condemning yourself. What did this teach me? What part of me needs strengthening? You know, falling inward creates resilience. It shifts the nervous system from panic to curiosity. Instead of seeing failure as proof of inadequacy, you begin to see it as information that guides future growth. Spiritually, falling inward is a return to your center. External success and failure are temporary movements of circumstance. But the inner self remains constant. You know, when you fall into yourself, you reconnect with awareness, with humility and truth. This space is beautiful because it holds compassion and clarity. The soul does not measure you by how high you climbed, but by how deeply you understood yourself when you fell. You know, every fall becomes an invitation to deepen your relationship with your own being. In short, climbing demands effort, but falling happens naturally. You know, the wisdom lies in choosing where you land. When you fall into bitterness, you shrink. When you fall into self-awareness, you grow. The most beautiful space you can land after any fall is within yourself. Because that is where learning, resilience, and transformation begin. You know, my people heal. Heal.